Welcome, fellow Ford Racing motor fans. My name is Paul Ferris, and this is my video on uncrating the Coyote Aluminator, which essentially, in 2000, I bought a Mustang GT that came with a 4.6 liter naturally aspirated single overhead cam motor. This is the motor I'm going to be replacing it with. I'll talk a little bit more about the car later. But essentially, some of you probably like to know, what do you get when you buy a Ford racing crate motor, and how does it come and all that fun stuff. So it comes in a crate. That's the remnants of the crate. I got pictures of me and my buddy Dustin unpacking and uncrating the thing yesterday. The other thing, I was kind of surprised. Mine came with the engine covers in place. Not sure why I got engine covers, but I'm happy I did. Unfortunately, I had already bought a set in anticipation of needing them, so now I have a spare set of engine covers. Probably going to go and have some custom letter work done on them to say Aluminator, but that's neither here nor there. What do you get when you buy a Ford racing crate motor? You get basically the motor, and this is the naturally aspirated 11:1 compression ratio motor, and you're going to need a control pack to run it. So let's cover all the parts that come in a box about this size. That is the Ford Racing control pack for the Coyote motor. Of course, you have to have air intake pieces, which a lot of people are building custom intake pieces of their own. But from talking to Ray at Ford Racing, use this. Don't screw with it. Use this box pretty much intact. And I would say for your initial build, it's probably a wise idea anyway, just because this is basically the pieces that come in the Mustang GT. And if there's any problems, you don't want to be diagnosing the custom pieces you've made in conjunction with any kind of problems that may be naturally part of the build. So I've taken a few pictures of this engine and put them online, but anyways, it's just a beautiful motor. The covers, of course, snap off. I've gone and covered a lot of the holes because it's going to be sitting in my garage for a couple days. Anyways, so the control pack comes with these two pieces for air intake, and then you have the PCM, which is the engine control computer, and a wiring harness for that control computer that is described in their PDF, which they ship you a hard copy as well. I guess for people that don't know how to read PDFs. Bad joke, sorry. They also ship you radiator hoses, which I was told I would have the top radiator hose, but apparently I have all the hoses I need. I believe those will even hook right to my radiator from what I'm checking here. And then, of course, there's some other hoses for exhaust gas recirculation and so on. Those are in there too. The gas pedal, which I may end up using, I initially thought I would put this in a box and use my stock accelerator cable and some plumbing, but I'm not sure yet. I'm not a fan of hacking up my firewall and stuff to make this work, but probably going to end up doing that. And I'm not sure what this piece is, but it's got lights that look like they're diagnostic lights on the side. And so we'll figure out all of this fun stuff and put it up on Coyote when I'm done. Those are obviously O2 sensors, which it comes with two. My car is not going to have cats initially. I will have the ability to switch in a set of cats when I want to. But initially for my build, I'm going to simply have my Bassani X pipe hooked up to the engine. And then this is an extra part that I bought called a speed dial that is required to convert the analog signal to digital, I believe is what's going on with it, but I haven't really studied the exact way it works. But in order to make a Tremec TR3650, which is the transmission I put in my car in 2009, in order to make that transmission work, I've got to convert the output signal off the back of it and run it through this box, and then it creates the digital signal, I believe, that's required for the PCM, and also for my speedometer to register correctly. So the deal is that the speed dial also allows me to change the gear ratio, which has been off since I think it's 2004. I put a set of 373s in the car. So this will help me have my speedometer read correctly. It is extremely important that you do have your speedometer working in the PCM, seeing the car moving down the road, which its only insight into the movement in the car is through these signals off of the vehicle speed sensor. So if you don't do that, then the car will stall because it doesn't know when you're coming to a stop. And then of course there's the printed engine control pack literature. So here's the bottom half of the crate for those of you that are really bored. You see some other sundry parts. That's a fuel tank for a 94 to 97 Mustang GT, essentially, or just plain Mustang. It's the ability to do a two-line, in other words, to the car, to the engine and back return fuel system, which the 2000 Mustang GT only ships with a single line, so I've got to convert to a older style fuel system. I'm currently waiting on a fuel system from High Performance Fuel that has been on back order for quite some time. And some various sundry parts. I'm not just going to have to change the fuel system, I'm going to need to augment my gauges. Over here in a box is a EPR chromoly K-member, which you can't see all of it, but you will whenever I get to that point. Essentially, the Coyote takes up a little bit more engine bay space in the lower areas here. These exhaust manifolds will not fit with your stock K-member. They collide. And the oil pan as well. So that has to swap out. I've seen people online buy a different oil pan and make their own headers. I think it's insanity. I mean, look at the headers this car ships with. It ships with a really, really pretty set of stainless steel headers, which have been tuned by Ford already. So the idea of me just taking them off and putting on something else, and most people are doing it for engine bay space, primarily on the passenger side. I don't know what I'm going to run into there, but I think a sledgehammer on the passenger firewall is much more desirable to me, throwing away a beautiful set of tuned headers. So there you have it. We're looking at quite a few parts, but really at the end of the day, most of it just snaps together. There will, of course, be plumbing for this stuff, but don't let the number of wires daunt you. It's really not that many connections. My factory PCM that came in my Mustang GT will still be in operation, and I'll simply take the signal off of it that would normally start the engine and go from there to say, start the engine and run the engine. So my normal key operation and everything like that will still be the way it was from the factory. I've got a lot of work to do cleaning up some rust into the bottom of this car. Dropped the fuel tank last week, and I'm basically going to be hitting it with a bunch of 415 underneath. Anyways, figured you'd want to see the crate motor and enjoy it the same way I have. So there's some video. Gosh, it's beautiful. And I have to commend Ford for making such a nice product available through their racing program, which, this is what's going on, is essentially they take the parts that they put in the Mustang GT and they rework them and make them available to the public. So anyways, enjoy. I'm out.